Hello, my name is Lou, and I'm going to tell you the story about the lost commandment. Now, the lost commandment, I'm going to tell you first about a man named Joseph. Joseph is 42 years old. His parents are now 62 years old. And Joseph has a daughter who's 10 and a son 12. When Joseph was a child, his parents often hit him. They belittled him and they questioned his value. Like many parents, they did this whenever he did something they thought was wrong, or when he expressed his true thoughts or feelings, or when he disagreed with them in any way. A child's job, they told him, was to obey and honor his parents. Joseph learned that parents should not be criticized by children, no matter what they did to their children. He was told that this is what the fourth commandment required children to do. Honor thy father and thy mother. The fourth commandment told parents that they should expect this honor. As a child, Joseph never got into any real trouble, such as trouble with the law, but he did suffer many eating disorders and digestive disorders, and as a child and as an adult. Joseph also wishes he were able to relate to people in a more honest and real way, without playing games with people, but he has difficulty doing that. Joseph is unsure of himself, and this often makes him feel depressed and isolated. Joseph now thinks that maybe the way his parents treated him was wrong, and he wishes they would have done something different. He still knows he should love his parents and forgive them, because this is what the fourth commandment requires. Today, Joseph thinks he should not treat his children as his parents treated him, but he does so anyway. He wishes he knew an alternative. Joseph's story and his reflection on the fourth commandment portrays a common understanding of the one-way relationship between children and adults. That adults have a right to be honored by children even when parents act destructively towards children. Is there no option to this one-sided relationship? Well, the fable of a lost commandment tells us that there is. I relate this fable, which is a short story to teach a moral lesson, to students in my Violence in the World of Children class. It provides a child-centered preventive alternative to the intergenerational experience, such as Joseph's, and a transmission of violence, such as Joseph's, and resulting problems of living, like those of Joseph. What is the story of the lost commandment? Well, the 10 Commandments, as I learned them, provide a set of principles that guide our relationships between people and God. They set out those parts of human interaction that are deemed to be central to making a good world, one that would be pleasing both to the human family and to God. The first set of commandments focuses on God, keeping God central in our lives. Other commandments deal with human interactions. Clearly, we should not do violence, kill or murder, commit adultery, steal or lie. However, only one commandment sets the tone for relationships between social classes. The fourth commandment, honor thy father and thy mother. The social classes involved are adults and children. However, and this is the big however, this is not all there was to the story of the fourth commandment, as the following story illustrates. A few years ago, I and a colleague were having breakfast in a small hotel in Amsterdam, Holland. While waiting for breakfast, I overheard a conversation. As far as I could tell, these two British soldiers who were sitting next to us were discussing something, and their looks on their face made it seem very important. They were talking about the 10 Commandments. One said that a friend recently told him about a Bible scholar who, in the early 1900s, had gone to St. Catherine's Monastery, a monastery built near Mount Sinai in 1550 AD. Now, Mount Sinai was the place where Moses received the 10 Commandments. The scholar was in search of some early Christian writings. While moving around some dusty archives and boxes, he happened upon a piece of stone with some writing on it. He studied it for a while and thought it had the language characteristics similar in tone and structure to what he remembered about early documents and artifacts he had studied before from the period around 1500 BC, around the time Moses received the commandments. This piece of stone, he believed, was from the first set of commandments Moses received. Remember, he received two sets. The tablets Moses smashed when he came down from the mountain were where this piece of stone came from. And as the book of Exodus says, as soon as Moses came near the camp and saw the golden calf and the dancing, he became enraged and hurled the tablets from his hands and shattered them at the foot of the mountain. As the man deciphered the words on a stone fragment, the Bible scholar became frightened. He thought what he found was part of the original fourth commandment. The first one God gave Moses, the ones that he smashed. Those who originally found this fragment placed it deep in a cave in the desert. It was never to be spoken of again. The lost commandment was found by a shepherd who brought it to St. Catherine's around 800 AD. There it was kept, never to be seen again until it was accidentally discovered by the Bible scholar. The scholar believed the adults who gathered the fragments of the broken tablets recognized the danger in the words and kept this piece apart, hidden from the world. Also, the Bible scholar realized what was written on the fragment was not part of the second set of commandments Moses received, the ones the world knows. Why was it included? Was not it included? We do not know. But the lost commandment did not become part of our cultural understanding. From the edges on the stone, the scholar determined that this piece of stone was on top of the second tablet. It preceded, honor thy father and thy mother, and it was chipped off. What made this commandment so earth-shaking? What could be so powerful an idea that it had to be buried without air, without water, without anything that could help it grow and nourish people along their journeys to harmony with each other and with God? What kept God from including in the second set of commandments dictated to Moses? We don't know. The language on the stone said the following: parents should honor and empower their children so that they, their children, and their children's children will live their own truths over long and authentic lives. The lost commandment directs adults to share honor with children, a group that people considered inferior and not worthy of honor. It emphasizes the adult's responsibility to empower children, not to control them. It's dangerous because it requires adults to understand that they are not always in charge of children, whose lives will be different from that of their parents. The Bible scholar never reported this finding to the world. What if he did? What if this commandment made it to the second draft? What if the lost commandment were part of our common sense understanding of the relationship between children and adults for the past 3,000 years? Would this have provided Joseph an alternative for understanding and changing the relationships between Joseph and his children? Between Joseph's parents and Joseph? Between Joseph and his parents? Would the lives and the lives of millions over the millennia have been different? This is something to think about. It's not too late to make the lost commandment part of our everyday lives. Thank you.